2, ready, go.
Dan Grider, Probable Cause. It's June 4th down here at Gaston's on remote. My Sunday night video I'm shooting from Gaston's first ever. Going to try to shoot this remote and edit and upload it from on the road. Got a couple knucklehead friends of mine helping me do that. I'm going to go through the whole process of doing this, but I got a whole bunch of stuff to report on this video, so it's going to be a fairly long video. I'm estimating right now, thinking about 21 or 22 minutes for this video. Hang with us. If you're in the live chat room with us tonight, glad to have you with us. Jump in there and say hi. This is the weekly update for June. As you remember from last week, I advertised that we still had 3 spaces to go in the month of May to fill up in order to get your fatal in, and we did that. I'll get to those at the very end. Before we do that, I'm going to zoom on to the next thing here. We're going to talk about where we are here in Arkansas. I had to come out here for the Air Coop Convention, so I came out. I did the Air Coop Convention. That was Friday night. Flew to Memphis, rented a car, and showed up at the Air Coop Convention. You talk about a bunch of knuckleheads. These Air Coop guys are crazy. So we had a great time. We played a lot of music out there. It sounded something like this. I can tell you one thing. The Air Coop guys can fly, but they're horrible vocalists. You talk about terrible. So we've been playing guitar and goofing around out here. A great time though with all those guys. And then the next day on Saturday, all those Air Coop guys jumped in their Air Coops. They flew up here to Gaston's, one of my favorite places. Now this is pretty cool. At Gaston's with all these Air Coop knuckleheads here. I mean, look at all these Air Coops here. So we spent the evening last night, played some music, and I can't say what else happened. Whatever happens at the Air Coop Convention stays at the Air Coop Convention. Now, I think this airplane here, this is the actual airplane that Jessica Cox learned to fly in, and it's now owned by somebody else, but it's fixed to get airborne here, and it's here today. Jessica Cox is the girl who got a private pilot's license. She has no arms, so she flies it with her feet only. She literally has no arms. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to introduce you to the owner of the Jessica Cox airplane. Tell us who you are.
John Trowbridge.
John, and how long have you had this airplane?
5 years.
This is the airplane that Jessica learned to fly in,
Learned
I guess?
to fly, exactly.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Okay, so this is, I guess this is a Piper Cub?
Yeah, a Piper Air Coop.
A Piper Air Coop.
Yeah.
What year is this airplane?
1946.
All right, so boy, it's clean.
It's a beauty. It's a Model D, and she ended up 20 hours in this, and then went to a Sport Pilot 1, a Model C, because it was easier for her to use foot controls for her throttle.
Pretty cool. All right, I guess you're fixing to give a ride to somebody here?
Yeah, at least me.
At least you. All right. All right.
So
sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks.
We've been here hanging around Gaston, swimming in the river and jumping off of rope swings and stuff like that here since yesterday. A couple people got a ride in an Air Coop, which turned out to be kind of cool. Yeah. On the way to Gaston's, actually on the way up to Mountain View, I used to fly for Sam Walton Walmart, and I stopped in Newport, Arkansas, one location I have always wanted to see. I stopped in and did a little bit of investigation. I found the actual building where Sam Walton started his store in 1945. Let's take a quick look at this video segment from 1945. This is where Sam Walton actually started Walmart when he got kicked out of Newport, Arkansas. He had a building lease for 5 years, and at the end of the lease, the guy did not renew his lease, and that's how come he ended up in Bentonville, Arkansas. Check this out. On the sidewalk in Newport, Arkansas, the old original downtown section of Newport, Arkansas. Why is this interesting? Well, the world's largest, most successful billion-dollar retailer, Walmart, actually started here with this fascinating story. I know because I used to fly airplanes for the Walton family, Sam Walton and Walmart. It started right here in Newport. In 1945, Sam became a Ben Franklin franchise owner in this building right here, And for 5 years, he built up the most successful Ben Franklin franchise, and he would have stayed here in Newport, Arkansas until Mr. Polk, the landowner, would not renew his lease. When he did not renew his lease, Sam Walton, and that was in 1950, Sam and his family were here from 45 to 50. When Sam did not get his lease renewed, he moved to Bentonville, Arkansas. He started Walton's Five and Dime. Mr. Polk should have renewed that lease. Look what happened in Northwest Arkansas that could have happened here in Newport, Arkansas. Instead, today there's a plaque on the ground here, and I'll read it to you if you ever have a chance to stop downtown here. It says, on this corner, Sam Walton opened a Ben Franklin store September 1, 1945. So began a sales career that has culminated in the greatest retailing story in the history. This store became, in less than 5 years, the gross sales leader among all Arkansas Ben Franklin stores. The sales genius of Sam Walton at this location for 5 years moved to Bentonville, Arkansas in the spring of 1950, later to grow into today's Walmart. Check it out. Here's all that's left from this original storefront behind glass, a couple of original pictures. And this is where it was at here. Mr. Polk and Mr. Walton did not see eye to eye. Mr. Polk kicked him out, and he sure should not have done that. So now we're up at Gaston's. I'm on a 3,200 foot strip. I've had the DC3 in here quite a few times. You talk about a classic candidate for the 50-70 rule. When you watch the airplanes heavily loaded come out of here, 50-70 means you better have 70% of your rotation speed by the time you get to 50% of the runway. The runway's only 3,200 feet long. At the 1,600 foot mark down here, you better have sufficient flying speed or you're going through the trees and you're probably going to get killed. This is a classic example. Grass runway, underpowered airplanes, heavily loaded because you just ate lunch and now you're trying to take off. Probably downwind, a downwind takeoff on grass. You better have 70% of your flying speed by the time you get to 50% of your runway, or it's not going to work. Save that extra 50% for stopping once you reach the abort decision. Anybody that's telling you that the 50-70 rule is bogus, don't listen to that. Use some kind of a metric. I don't care what it is. Use some kind of a metric for deciding the go, no-go decision so you can stay alive in your tiny little itty-bitty airplane. That's all I'm asking. Let's take a look at the next one here. I got a quick video of a kid flying along in flight. This is absolutely hilarious. Take a look. So I'll tell you right now while we're playing the video on top of it. This is a kid. I have seen this myself in flight many times before. Your kid's trying to stay awake in flight. Guess what airplanes do? They put you to sleep in flight. It's totally cool. You're asleep. Check this kid out. He can hardly stay awake. Isn't this hilarious? Couple scheduling things. Remember, next weekend we'll be in Vegas for the climb. If you want to see the video on that, I've got a video up and on the air right now explaining where we're going to be in Vegas. We're going to TWA Flight 3, the crash of Carol Lombard from back in the early 40s, the DC-3 that flew straight into the base of the mountain. A lot of that wreckage is still down there at the base of the mountain, and we're actually going to go out there and find that wreckage. Saturday night, we're playing music and hanging out at the Pioneer Lounge in Good Springs, Nevada, just south of Vegas. It's all free if you'd like to attend. And then remember, just after that, June 14th, we'll be in Portland, Oregon at the EAA chapter. Come on out and see us out there. I'm going to be doing a special D.B. Cooper thing. If you haven't seen my D.B. Cooper videos, I'd like to get your opinion on whether I got it right on D.B. Cooper. D.B. Cooper Deep Family Secrets Part 1, D.B. Cooper Deep FBI Secrets Part 2. I put a lot of work, 20 years worth of research into the D.B. Cooper story. If you haven't seen these two videos, check it out. My toxic water video came out just the other night. I've got more parts of this to go. If you get a chance to watch my Griffin, Georgia, toxic water, you talk about a fascinating story. And I want to tell you that I am not just attempting to get a female African-American named, an airport named after. I just want to prevent the absolute exclusion of that being a possibility is all I'm saying here. I don't care what we name it. I just don't want anybody excluded because these people do not have the right to name this airport something in order to prevent the airport being named something else. The whole thing is completely toxic. When you see what's going on here in future videos, you'll see what's going on. But I want you to go back and watch Griffin, Georgia, Toxic Water Part 5. It's an amazing story. That video is up and on the air. I'm going to have another one coming out here next week sometime that I want you to watch. This is a whole series. If you have any trouble at your airport, I'm going to give you the roadmap to doing an FAA Part 16 federal complaint at your town with your guy, and you can do it. I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Let's get on to the next accidents here. We had one in Statesboro, Georgia, just the other day. This is a bonanza. I'm going to give you the N number here. The N number was November 8074 Romeo. Here's what the guy did. You talk about a messed up go-around. This guy's on approach. He gets slow on the approach. He's fully configured slow on the approach. My friends out there in Statesboro watched it happen. He got slow. He stalled the airplane on the approach. He decided to go around. When he added power and he allowed the nose come up. What happens on the bonanza when the nose comes up? The airplane stalled, and here's a picture of it. Here's where it hit. Fortunately, the guy is okay. This is a messed up go-around. When you add the power to a big, heavy IO 550 like this, with the three-bladed prop, the thrust that you're going to get, you're already trimmed nose up for the landing. You're trimmed almost full nose up, and you add power, the nose comes up. He's lucky he did not die. Be ready for the go-around and the amount of push that you're going to have to put on that yoke or stick to counteract that when you go to do that. That's a killer every day. That's an AQP maneuver. They messed up go-around. Don't die in your airplane over a simple go-around. Know how to do a go-around in your airplane. So here's the last four, the most recent four. I'm going to read them to you off the end number here. This is my chicken scratch sheet that ended up in the river yesterday. It's a little bit dirty, but I'm going to put it on the screen. I'll give you a fresh one on the screen here today. On the 28th of May, slot number 17 went to a Buttercup in New York. In-flight breakup, this airplane actually came apart in flight. 2 guys died on this. November 18263. Took it apart in flight. Not exactly sure how yet, but we're going to figure that out and take a look at subsequent weeks. Both guys died. Not sure if it's an assembly error or if they oversped it or what they did. I can tell you right now, though, taking an airplane apart in flight is not a good idea. I would prefer that you didn't do that. Let's take a look at the next one. This is number 18 at 2:50 p.m. November 577 Sierra Whiskey 182. This is a jump plane in New York. I don't have very much data on this as well, but this guy dropped his skydivers over the top of the airport, then proceeded out to west of the airport for the descent. This airplane ended up crashing out to the west of the airport. Only the jump pilot was killed on this. The skydivers were long gone, and they're fine. Jump plane accidents are kind of rare, but this is a standard jump plane. I've owned many of them. I've been a 182 jump pilot. I'm not exactly sure how this happened. It's always a day VFR, a good weather operation, and the 182 is super strong. Don't know exactly how he ended up that far off the field and ended up dead, but he made it onto my list. The next one is November 3178 Delta. This is a 180. This, you talk about a classic situation here. This is in Pennsylvania. This is Cessna 180 that had a engine failure, probably due to low fuel or no fuel. I'm not sure, but he almost made it to the airport, almost, and then he circled over the top of this interchange. It's the intersection where 2 interstates come together. He hit a utility truck, and one guy died. One made it, but his choice of where to put this 180 after his engine failure was very poor. Look at all the terrain he had around him at the time, and it's not good. The next one is the Navajo that just happened Saturday morning about 8 a.m. in Tupelo, Mississippi. 2 guys on board. The doctor, I'm not sure of his age, but he was up there pretty good. The other guy, Patrick Fain. Patrick had just gotten married recently. A tragic loss in Tupelo, Mississippi. This is an engine failure after liftoff. This is probably a BMC roll in the Viper Navajo. If you've ever flown the Navajo, it's a squirrely airplane on one. When you're rotating down close to VMC and you lose an engine, it's gonna roll over, and this looks like a classic VMC rollover to me, but it just happened yesterday morning. I don't have all the pictures and data and stuff yet. I know it happened on the airport property, almost hit the military armory building. Very, very close to the point of liftoff is where this thing ended up. They probably only made it about 200 feet in the air. This thing rolled inverted and got upside down. I'd like to say thanks for watching here, and I'd like to really say thanks to my friends who have this YouTube channel, Light Sport Pilot Adventures. Rob and Crystal are out here today with me helping shoot and edit this thing. We've had a great time out here pounding around with them the whole weekend. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. I hope to see you guys in Vegas for my tiny little itty bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider. Probable cause.